Hello juniors, and welcome back to Computer Systems and Programming. For this video, we're going to be going over libraries and how you can use them in programming. So the first thing we're going to do, as usual, is make a file, new pydev project, and just name it libraries. And once you're done, click finish. Then once you have this libraries folder, you're going to make a file, new pydev module, and then you can name this libraries practice, because we'll be practicing our syntax for the library. Now, we talked about and kind of understand the concept of libraries, but now we need to know how they work in programming. So whenever we're trying to use some other code, we first have to import it. So what we do is import whatever code we're going to use. For examples, we're going to be using random function. We've used it a couple times before in our projects, but now we can kind of look at it a little closer and see some cool things you can do with it. So once you import random, you have it and you can use whatever functions. So we've used, I'm going to assign this, but we use random.randint, which is a really cool function that gives you a random integer. You can also give it some parameters, so you can say between 3 and 10, or between 100 and 1000. So you can give no parameters, which will do an infinite amount, or you can do between a certain amount of parameters. So x will equal any number between 3 and 10, including 3 and 10. The other cool thing you can do is name the imports. So you can import random as, let's say, R. So now instead of typing random every time, it's going to throw this error because it says what is random. But if you type R, it basically assigns R the name of, or it assigns random the name of R. So same how we give a name to the variable, you can give a name to the import, so that it's just easy to work with. Because sometimes they have long names, they have underscores and parentheses and dashes and whatever. I don't think they have parentheses, but you get my drift. It can be hard to type over and over and over. So it's easy to just do this. So we can run this just to kind of give you an example. Remember, every time you run, you got to do file, or you got to click the drop down and do run as Python run. But so it'll just print a random number. And you can just keep running this over and over, and it'll just keep giving you random numbers. Another thing we can do with random is do a random.choice. So first, let's make this string. And let's just put our names in it. Then we can do x equals r.choice. Now in this choice box, we can put something. So it's normally a string. Well, it has to either be a string or a list. So let's see what happens when we print out this now. So if we run this, it prints L. And we run it again, it prints E. We run it again, it prints E, I. So you can see .choice, the choice function, just gives you a random letter in the name. So you put whatever you want in here, and it picks a random thing. You can do the same thing. Let's copy and paste this with lists. So let's say we got a list here, and let's add ourselves a bracket. We can put all the names of our programming teachers: Patrice, Amaya, William, and we can close it off. And now instead of putting list, we can put, or instead of putting string, we can put list. And now you'll see it chooses a random item in the list and prints it out. So William, Amaya, William, Amaya, Michael, Amaya, Amaya, William, William, Michael. Patrice is just not having any luck. Wow, they really just don't want to pick Patrice. That's really sad. But so .choice is a really cool function that allows you to pick random items within a list, or within a string. Now, that's how you would work with pre-built import. So random comes with Python. It's something that you have pre-built. when you're working with something else, you can, or when you're working with something that you built, you can also import that. So I'm going to open up this testing.py file in here. You can go ahead and make this file yourself if you'd like. Just go File, New pydev module, and call it testing. And I just put a couple of functions in here for some tests. Now what we can do is we can import testing. Now, yeah, that's not one that Python made, but we can still import it. Now what we can do is we can use testing dot whatever functions we made. So we made two functions in there, testing1 and testing2. Let's go ahead and try one. Now testing1 doesn't take any variables, so let's go ahead and just run it. And look, it does what testing1 is supposed to do. Prints lovable kittens. Let's try testing.test2. And we got to put some variable in. I know it happens to be a number, so I'll type in this number and print it. And it doesn't do anything. Well, if we go over here, it's just supposed to return the area. It's supposed to calculate the area of what is a square, pi r squared, or what is a circle. This is the formula to get the area of a circle. So instead, we can assign this to x and then print x. So now we can go back, run it again, and it prints the area of what a circle would be for that. So to review everything we just did, we can import a library that Python already has, so modules that Python has made for us. We can use the functions, so we can see all the different functions that it has. Additionally, we can import our own files and our own .py modules and use the functions that we create inside of them. Now, if you're working with, and we can name the files as well so that they're easier to work with. Because obviously writing that out 100 times will get kind of annoying. Now, if you ever want to look up more, you can always go to Google and just look up Python random. Whoops. And it'll give you all the random functions that you can possibly want. So get state, set state, get rand bits. And there's a lot of things in here that are a lot more complicated than what we talk about in this course. But you can do all of those things, as well as you can go through and make your own things to do by importing your own files. So once you finish the libraries practice, you can go on back to Canvas and go to the library's drills, activity prompt, read through it, complete the drills, and then submit the link to your GitHub repository on Canvas. Similarly, go to the debug drills, activity prompt, read it, go through the debug drills assignment, complete it, and then submit your link to your GitHub repository in the activity prompt. All right, juniors, I will see you later.